Allah Chazayin. Kana Peros Elu. The person said, I'm borrowing myself from benefit from this fruit. Or lie upon myself. Kana Mein Lefi. They are barred from my mouth. Same idea. Kana Mein Malpi. They're barred upon my mouth. Same idea. The issue, the Chiddush is also the Chilufei, and if you exchange them for other fruits, you're also not what you exchange them for. And the fruit which, if you planted those fruits, whatever growth comes from that fruit is forbidden as well. She'eni ochel. Now, if you said the fruit itself is forbidden to you, period, in generic fashion. They said she'eni ochel, I'm not going to eat the fruit. She'eni toy, I'm not going to taste the fruit. In that case, mutzah b'chilufeim b'chduleim, allowed to eat that which you exchange for them, or that which grows from them, because you paid it by yourself. As the eating of the fruits, not benefit from the fruits. There's a big difference, because you're not going to eat it if you plant it and you get something out of it, or if you exchange something else. But if you forbade all benefit from the fruit, so even that which you exchange it for, or even that which you grew from it, is forbidden as well. That's all true. That which we permitted is only when something where the seed, when you plant it, rots in the ground. But let's say it's like a bulb type fruit, such as onion. No, it's not a fruit technically, but the idea is the same. So v'davar shein zara kolet, if you do like you do in Yisur, then anything which grows, even if you plant again the thing which grew, and it grows again, it's all lost because the original fruit is still there, since it's like a bulb. So therefore, the original fruit is still present as part of the new fruit. It's only if you grew it and it rotted and a new fruit came out that would be permitted, but not if it's a bulb type arrangement. Same idea, right? No, it's a consistent. Trumas we had. If you plant truma in the ground, the same idea. Adol Chain, how far does that go down the line? Says the Gemara, Yeva Kai, let's say concerning this, like that which you learned by Truma, the Mara Rabbi Yaakov Baride, B'Shem Rabbi Yochanan, Rabbi Yaakov, the name Rabbi Yochanan, Ad Shalosh Koros Asura, 3 crops are forbidden if it's a bulb-like fruit. Barvitz Mutares, the 4th crop is permitted. The Switch says that by planting Truma in the ground, that it retains the name of Truma until the 4th crop to issue from it. The Kakain, here to the same thing. Here we say it's until the 4th crop, which comes along. The Bavli does not draw the distinction between the 3rd and 4th crop. The Bavli seems to indicate that it's also forever. As long as even if you replant it and replant it again, since the seed did not rot in the ground, so it still retains an issur no matter how many times you replanted it and drew a new fruit or vegetable out of it. Okay? If somebody says to his wife, your handiwork is forbidden upon me. Same idea, they're forbidden from my mouth, they're forbidden upon my mouth. Also, you're forbidden also in the chilufeim, that which your wife exchanges for handiwork, that which grows from your wife's handiwork. A person says, I'm not going to eat your handiwork. I'm not going to taste your handiwork. In that case, you're permitted in that which is exchanged for the handiwork, or that which grew out of the handiwork. And again, it's only true if the seed rots in the ground. But if the seed does not grow in the rot in the ground, that which grows from the growth is also as well. Now, if you say that which you make and that I'm not going to eat until Pesach time. That which you even make, Vani Miskas are going to refuse to wear it at HaPesach, so until Pesach time. Also, Lifnei Pesach, if she made something before Pesach, it's forbidden until Pesach. Luchol Viskasos to eat it and to cover oneself in it, even lachar Pesach, even after Pesach passes. And the reason is because you said everything you make until Pesach will be also for me to wear and also for me to eat. So that's true even after Pesach passes. That object remains also forbidden. The flip side of that we'll see in the next Mishnah, but that's what this means over here. And that's where it says, Kini Mastis, this is the way to read our Mishnah. Mashat also, it should be any oichel out of Pesach. Switch around the words, any oichel was out of Pesach. That what you do, I'm not going to eat until out of Pesach. Mashat oise, any miskase out of Pesach. Again, switching the same around. In other words, whatever you make until Pesach, that's going to be forbidden to me, and that subsequently it's forbidden as well. As opposed to halacha test, shat oisad Pesach vani oichel, that what you make until Pesach, I'm going to bar myself. I goofed. I'm sorry, I mixed up the two Mishnayos. Look back at the Mishnah, I skipped it. I made a mistake. I'm sorry. The Mishnah says in halacha ches at the end, the last 3 lines of the Mishnah, Shat oisav ani oichel ha-pesach, oisav ani iskas ha-pesach, oisav nei pesach, muter luchel muter, I read it as also before, muter luchel v'iskas ha-pesach. The first Mishnah, halacha ches, is about where he took a nether to refrain from the thing until Pesach. But then after Pesach, he no longer is going to refrain from it. And that's what the Gemara says. Kini Masis, that which the Mishnah said, this is ready to read our Mishnah. Mashat oisa, that which you do, Eini oichel Pesach. I'm not going to eat it until Pesach. Or Mashat oisa, Eini miskas Pesach. I'm not going to use it as a garment until Pesach. But after Pesach, the inference of halacha ches, for Pesach it's permissible. Halacha tes is shat oisa Pesach vani oichel. That which you make until Pesach, I'm not going to eat, means forever, even after Pesach. Shatoisa Pesach, Bani Miskasa, I'm not going to wear. That's also that's even after Pesach. So in those cases, even also Lifnei Pesach, even if she made it before Pesach, also it's forbidden Lochav Liskasos to eat and to cover oneself in those garments or eat those tefillin covered in garments. Even Lacha Pesach, even if Pesach was over. Says the word Kini Masli. So this is the way to read our Mishnah. Mashatoi Sara Pesach. That which you make it through Pesach, any miskas, I'm not going to wear ever, even after Pesach is over. Okay? Now, halachi and halachi have variations on this theme. Shanenesli at Pesach, you say, I'm forbidding you to derive any pleasure. The husband says, I'm forbidding you, the wife, to derive any pleasure from until Pesach. If you go to your father's house until Sukkot. Okay, so he made a condition. He said, you're not allowed to derive benefit from me until Pesach if you go to your mother's house, your father's house, anytime before Sukkot. Pesach. So if she went before Pesach, for sure, she's not allowed to derive any benefit from him after Pesach, until after Pesach. What about if Pesach was passed already? And now it's a question, she can derive Hana, but she might still transgress the neder by going to her father's house before Sukkot, because Pesach comes in this sequence before Sukkot. So after Pesach, she's allowed to derive benefit. But what happens if she goes to her father's house at that time? Of course, she transgresses by Yachad Dvar, she retroactively transgresses the neder, because the neder was made contingent on some future event, right? On her not going to her father's house until Pesach time. Okay? So that's below Yachad Dvar. She's on watch that she might potentially transgress. Now, says the Gemara explain this. Vasura lehenos mimenu. It says here also, but it's go ahead and her to read Vasura. She's forbidden to derive benefit. It says here mimenu, which is from her, but should be mimenu from him. She's forbidden to derive no benefit from him until Pesach, mikvar, before Pesach, Shema telech achar Pesach, despite the fact that she can preserve herself. Why does she just take that off and take the chance? And she won't go to her father's house. So it says more reasons, because Shema telech achar Pesach, because maybe after Pesach she's going to end up going to her father's house Sunday before Sukkot, the Nimsa says Lamafreya, and the benefit will retroactively be forbidden. So therefore, we already have her from now safeguard herself as a precaution not to drive any anah, lest later on she go to her father's house and as a result incur the provision of the neder and retroactively forbid herself.
What's the
Yeah, it is beyond that. Whatever is not under, luxuries, things like that. Whatever doesn't meet the minimum credit fur codes, that's right. So whatever in Eretz Yisrael. So whatever is not above them. So in any event, that's a necessity, I understand. So you got the point. Okay, I'll look it up. You're forbidden to derive benefit from me until Sukkot. If you go to your father's house until Pesach. Now, of course, Pesach comes first. So she'll already know before Sukkot if she transgressed the Tanai or not, right? Here the Tanai precedes the limit of the Neder. The previous case, limit of the Neder was Pesach. The Tanai stretches all the way to Sukkot. Here, vice versa. The limit of the Tanai was till Pesach. The limit of the condition was till Pesach. The Neder stretches till Sukkot. So She'anen is the Chag. You need not to benefit two Sukkot. If you go to your father's house before Pesach falls, when she goes before Pesach, she's forbidden, of course, to derive any benefit from him until Sukkot. But if she go after Pesach already passed, since the time of the condition has elapsed, she's allowed to go to her father's house, and it doesn't impede upon her from eating until Sukkot. Says the Gemara, again, the same thing we said before, she's not to have any benefit before Pesach. Shemetech Achar Pesach was maybe she'll go after Pesach. Yeah, it's a mistake here. I didn't catch it when I was repairing. Masur has been mikfar before Pesach. I can't have any benefit. Shemetelech lifnei Pesach instead of achar Pesach should be maybe Moshe changes it to lifnei Pesach because maybe it should go before Pesach and nimtzei saniyos my friend, and then she's deriving benefit retroactively. So therefore, in other words, until Pesach, even though she has the capacity to say, well, I won't transgress the condition, I won't go to my father's house, let me derive benefit as a precaution, she has to refrain from benefit until after Pesach is over. Once Pesach is over, she can derive benefit already because obviously the time of the condition is passed, even though the time of the neder is still applicable, but she's obviously no longer in the situation where she can transgress the condition, and therefore at that point she can begin having benefit after Pesach is over. Okay? Says the Mishnah further. New parak. A person takes a neder, he's not going to taste wine today. She's only forbidden until nightfall. After night is for falls, he's no longer forbidden. Shabbos zu, if he says he's forbidden for the entire week. So Aser b'chol Shabbos, he's also the entire week. The Shabbos Shavra, and Shabbos is affiliated with the past week, meaning that he's also in the following Shabbos as well. Chodesh Eper says he's also the entire month. Also b'chol Chodesh is also the entire month. Rosh Chodesh Shalabah, Rosh Chodesh is considered to be part and parcel of the next month. So it's only also until the last day of the month, not the next month as well. Shana Zu, first says he's also the entire year. Also b'chol Shana Tapachol B'Manav, he's also in the entire year. But Rosh Hashanah lost it, but not for Rosh Hashanah next year. That's why you consider part and parcel next year. Shavua Zeh, he says an entire Shemitah. Shavua here doesn't mean week, or rather 7 years. Also, B'chol Shavua is also in the entire Shemitah period of 7 years, whatever's left of when he takes his neder. V'Shvi is Shavar, and Shvi is part and parcel of 7 years, because Shemitah is always part of the unit. The Imam of a person said, I'm also Yom Echad for 1 day. Shabbos echad for 1 week, Chodesh echad for 1 month, Shana achas for 1 year, Shavua echad for 1 Shemitah period, Asr miyom liyom. He doesn't mean on the calendar a week, but rather it means a week of 24-hour days, seven days of those 24-hour days. It doesn't mean on the calendar today's date, but he rather means this our 24-hour period which is about to ensue, and so on and so forth. Each of these, it's not referring to the calendar fixed Shabbos, or the calendar fixed Rosh Chodesh, the calendar fixed year, a calendar fixed Shemitah. It's referring to his own personal count, which will begin today. Okay, is that clear? Because he said 1 day. What? And the Rashid said this Shabbos. The Sefer said 1 Shabbos. That's what makes a difference.
Also, the Rashid, when it says Rosh Chodesh, what if it's 2 days Rosh Chodesh?
Well, the first day's right. That's right. First day's the previous month. That's right. But I'm saying that just from logic, but it makes sense. Okay, it says again, our mission said, once it becomes dark, you're allowed to derive benefit. So it says more, despite the fact that it seems to do so, this doesn't argue on Rabbi Yochanan, despite the fact that Rabbi Yochanan Amar by Nedarim we follow the language used by individuals. And when a person takes a neder about not eating, so he means to include the night following the day. Not the night before. That night is already done with, right? It must mean the night following the day. I mean, the night following the day. That would be Lashon B'nai Adam. So our Mishnah says that once it becomes dark, it's already off the hook.
Darkness is the next day?
But that's the way Lashon B'nai Adam. Oh, so that's what the Gemara is going to say. But the Gemara Tzadmin is that in Lashon B'nai Adam, night always is part of the previous day. Only in the Torah's Lashon is night part of the next day.
The next day started
maybe that's because of the halacha involved. Maybe, but the Nedarim not necessarily contingent on that halacha. Although, what he's saying is good, but the Gemara is not still sorting through that. So it says the Gemara, nevertheless, places of Rabbi Yochanan, despite the fact Rabbi Yochanan that people follow the language used by individuals, because Leis Urcha the Barnash is not a person's manner. Memel Chavei to say to his friend, this is a quote, Berum Shalor Tamis Klum. In the evening I ate nothing. And when he says that, he means yesterday's evening. And he says, so when he says evening, Rumshis, it's night. Rumshah is, we say it in Pesukei de Zimra. Excuse me, Shvachin Asad, they're Tzafra for Ramshah, right? That's in Kari Bo. So Shvachin Asad, at Tzafra Ramshah, that arrange your praise even morning, that's Tzafra, and Ramshah, night. So here the word Rumshah means night, and Ramshis means when it was dark, or when it was dark yesterday. So here we have a case. A person says to his friend, in the evening I didn't eat anything, and he means the evening of yesterday. That tells us that actually the day begins the night before. Like halacha, Ramshis, he said about yesterday, last night he calls it part and parcel of yesterday. So we see that Lashon B'nai Adam is right. Night can precede the day also, like our Mishnah says. And more the Basra, but say mention the next case in this Brisa, wherever this Brisa is, Muplig, and it seems to argue because it says in the next part case of this Brisa, it says it indicates that Leis Urcha the Barnash Memel Chavei, those people say to their friends, B'tzafra, there's a quote, B'tzafra lo tamis klum, in the morning I tasted nothing. And this is talking about a case where I forgot. 1 second. Yeah, a person standing after nightfall, and he says, "Today I didn't eat anything." So when a person standing after nightfall, referring back to this morning, saying, "Today I didn't eat anything," how can we still saying today? Why did he say yesterday? So it must be that the night is affiliated with the day which precedes it. Okay, from the language of Bnei Adam.
This is just a quote from the shiur.
Yeah. But that's what makes Lashon Bnei Adam. Okay? So a person says, B'tzafra, this morning, lo tamis klum, and he says at night, like you would say this morning, tonight now, you would say, I didn't eat breakfast this morning. What do you mean this morning? It's yesterday morning. It's a new day already. No, but people speak to each other, they say the night subsequent connected to the morning of. Okay? So that's, wouldn't it be now like Rabbi Yochanan? Because like Rabbi Yochanan, and that's the case, Lashon Bnei Adam would be that in Lashon Bnei Adam would be that people would actually that the night precedes that the day precedes night, right? So that's not like our Mishnah, because our Mishnah says that whenever you take a neder during the day, it stops at nightfall.
You almost follow at that time.
They had the
Like the going to today.
Like going to today. Okay, absolutely. Okay? So it says, we see that he calls it today. So it says more Leisu Pliga. The following brisa does not argue on Rabbi Yochanan. It says in that brisa, Yom Zeh Mishabbos, if a person says this day, I learn out from Shabbos, this Shabbos. Mishabbos, a person says this Shabbos, Yom Zeh, I learn out this day. Yom Zeh Me'ayom. And this day is learned out from Hayom, which means it doesn't include the night. It doesn't include the night. Or it only includes the day in which you made the neder and it ends at nightfall. Second. I'm not sure exactly how the Brisa sees that, but there the Brisa says, let's say it again. Yom Zeh Mishabbos, you learn this day from this Shabbos, the Shabbos Yom Zeh, and this Shabbos from this day. Yom Zeh Me'ayom, and this day from this day. And this, somehow, the Gemara understands this Brisa to mean that, we always go have Lashon Bnei Adam, and Lashon Bnei Adam means this day is this day itself without the night which follows it. Command Dama, and that's where the Mandama says, that we follow human language. However, our Mishnah, it sounds like Command Dama, that we're following the Lashon Torah. Now, it's not clear what the Gemara is referring to. It's very cryptic what part of the Mishnah is referring to. But the Korban Eidah has a nice shot here. Korban Eidah says going on when it says The last part of Mishnah says, the person says, Yom Zeh, Yom Echad, or Shabbos Echos. So then it refers to a 24-hour period. So the Korban Eidah and actually the Ritva say, wait a minute, how could they, and they interpret the Gemara this way. How can it mean a 24-hour period if it goes after Lashon Torah? When a person says, Hayom Yom Echad LaOmer, this person means today is the 24-hour period of the Omer? No, a person means to say this is a certain date in the Omer. So that date should be also, that date is what he's referring to, not a specific 24-hour time period. So to a person takes it then and says, Yom Zeh should be also, so it should be, or Yom Echad should be also, like it says here in the Mishnah, Yom Echad should be this day, whatever the day is, it shouldn't be specifically a 24-hour time period. And the Mishnah says, it's also for the next 24 hours. Why not just say this date? Like when we say Sfiras Omer, it means this date, as opposed to the next 24 hours. No? You're following your about.
Because the Omer, we're counting every day, and it is Yom Echad Omer until the following day.
But we don't mean to count the 24-hour period. We mean to count part of the day. No. Or there is such a sheet of the Taz, you're right, by Tmimos, that you have to have 50, 20, but obviously, right, but the Mishnah says the Gemara, according to the way Korban Eidah Bazar, it doesn't work that way. You're counting the date, not the 24-hour time period. Okay? So a name at Rabbi Yerushalmi Nedarim said, no, it's not Lashon Torah, it is Lashon Nedarim. This is the way people speak. It says, soberly, then Yom, wait for me for this day, and it means wait for me till tomorrow, like as today, and that means it refers to 24-hour periods as well. Okay? Says more further. Right. True. The question is what to me must mean. But you're right, there is a Taz that says it's 24-hour times 7. But that doesn't seem to punch a shining one here. Says Gemara, a new thing. Family, you learned over there. If a person takes an Neder ad Rosh Adar, that should take effect till the beginning of Adar. So ad Rosh Adar Rishon. That refers then to the first Adar. Ad Sof Adar, a person says to the end of Adar, Ad Sof Adar Rishon, till the end of Adar Rishon. Now, the Brisa goes on there, and it says, and this the Gemara doesn't bring it down, but Korban Eidah brings it down. The person says that he's borrowing wine upon himself for the year, and the year becomes a leap year, so he's forbidden in the leap month as well, which is Adar Sheni, right? So it says more, Hadamar, as much teaches, it says that he's forbidden in the second Adar as well, in the case where he forbade himself for this year. Hadamar teaches us Nisan Rosh Hashanah Nedarim. That Nisan is Rosh Hashanah for Nedarim, and therefore it's forbidden the extra month until Rosh Chodesh Nisan. Then Rosh Chodesh Nisan is considered to be a new fiscal year for Nedarim. Whatever Nedarim we took last year are now null and void. Says the Gemara, no. Tisha Rosh Hashanah Nedarim. Tisha is Rosh Hashanah Nedarim, and any neder ensues till Rosh Hashanah. Shelo Tomar, but the Chiddush is here, you might have said, and the Gemara tells you not to say, you might have said that where there's an Ibrior, it makes the year shorter at the end, right? You shouldn't say, Shelo Tomar Yahweh Rosh Chodesh Adar, the Rosh Chodesh of Adar Sheni should take the place Tachas Elu, in lieu of Elu. And therefore your neder might expire Rosh Chodesh Elu, right? Because you had a month earlier in the year. That's why it says also you're forbidden in it, and a leap month, meaning you're forbidden all the way to Rosh Chodesh Tishrei. But of course, all the Nedarim concludes the Gemara, go to Rosh Chodesh Tishrei, they don't stop in the middle. Amar, when a person says Shana Zu this year, Amar Yom Echad, the person says 1 day, the Mishnah said, Chalas Achas, 1 week, Chodesh Echad, 1 month, Shana Achas, 1 year, Shavuot Echad, 1 Shemitah, Otzer Miyom Liyom. He's forbidden from day to day. Tani, and we're explaining that means we skip the words in Meisleis. Tani Meisleis. We're explaining our Mishnah. I mean, that he has that for the next 24 hours, for the day, that's what his neder takes place. Right? Rabbi Yaakov ben Rabbi Yosef ben Chanina said, a little bit of digression. Also, Adam Lisanas Atrishos B'Shabbos. The person forbidden to fast in a very long davening until past half day, right? Rabbi Yosef said, "Masiso Amakei." The Mishnah not here, but elsewhere indicates this. Ahoy Misanim Yorglem Shabim. If they were fasting and the rain fell before high noon, lo yachlim, they do not have to finish the fast. So we see it's still considered to be morning. If the rain starts falling after chatzos, so after midday, yachlim, they have to complete the fast. The fast on the rain. That's right, it's considered to be the most of the day passing in holiness. And so to Avil, you have the same halacha by the case of it's not for Havil. We have the same halacha over here by the case of fasting oneself on Shabbos. That before Shabbos over, before half day, before noon, it's not the majority of the day, and therefore you can still eat. Once it's after half day, so already he fasted on this, technically speaking, on this day, so therefore he gets to complete the what? What? No, but it's the regular rain timers. So he gets to complete the times, because anyway he fasted most of the day. Okay? Says Umar, Milton Rabbi Yochanan Amar, the father of Rabbi Yochanan about to say, teaches us, Mitzvah shows you can fast for hours. He doesn't, the Rabbi Yochanan, Amar, Yochanan said, Arain B'tayin, he used to put himself to fast, Ad the Chasal Birki, until he finishes his parak, Ad the Nefsal Parsha, until he finishes his Parsha. That's interesting. This really seems to argue in the Bavli. Because the Bavli seems so there's no such thing as a tiny shows where he already began to eat at the beginning of the day. You can't finish a day with the tightness. Once you start eating, that's it. That day is gone. It's water under the bridge. Okay? But it seems to Rabbi Yochanan that no, you can take a neder on in the middle of the day. Right? Whatever you want, you can take on a neder and say, from now on, I'm not going to eat for the rest of the day. That'll suffice. Maybe not even until the end of the day. It says, until I finish the parak. Until I finish the parsha. That's considered to be like a mini fast. So Chazan Sofer and many Achronim don't like this. They say no, can't. They want to square away the Bible Shalom and say this really cannot be a part-day fast. Rather, Rabbi Yochanan is making a multi-day fast. Or he's saying, it's going to take me a couple of days to finish the parak. Until I finish the parak, I'm still going to fast. And but that's valid. But you need to have at least one sunset on the tightness.
So he starts in the middle of the day.
And finishes in the middle next day. That's right. That's how it works. It says, again, that's the way the Chassan Sofer learns it. Milsa to Rabbi Yoina, but the words of Rabbi Yoina also, Amri, they seem to indicate the sign shows that one can fast several hours. What's the case? Rabbi Yoina, Ahava B'tzur. Rabbi Yoina was entire, V'shamad Damach, B'rei, Rabbi Yossi, and Rabbi Yossi, Sunday. Ahava got the Achal Guvna, even though he ate cheese, V'shosamai, and drank water already. Aske, B'tzom, he completed a day with a fast. Kol Yoima, all that entire day. So we see here that a person can eat first and then eat first and ask questions later. Eat first and then make a fast slowly later on. Milsa de Rav Amar. The words of Rav also teach us. Messiah shows you can fast for hours. Rav Amar love Adam Toranaso per Perea. Person can borrow his kindness and pay it back another time. So it means that he's borrowed the remainder of the day which he hasn't fasted yet, and he'll fast a different time. So we see you can fast shows and you can finish the day off eating, and that suffices. Shmuel didn't like this. He said, that wasn't your neder. Your neder was to fast, not to go a few hours without food. So Shmuel doesn't like this Gemara. But according to the Carbonata, he ultimately comes around to it himself. Okay? That he comes around for Rav Shita. That maybe it works. But the bottom line is that there is no answer in the Gemara. And Rav says it's got to be a complete Rav says it's got to be you don't have to complete it, and Shmuel says you do have to complete it, otherwise it's not considered to be a valid tinus. Okay? Not only sanos, where a person took a neder to fast, the shachan he forgot ba'achal kazayis, and he made a kazayis in the middle of the day. So even time so he lost his tinus, he has to make a new one from scratch. Rabbi Ba b'shem Rabbi Bonan Tamon said, "Ushamar yom stam." That's only be said this day. No, he only said day without this day. That right. It's like Harei Alai and Harei Zeh. If a person says he wants to fast the day generically, and he messes up one day, so he's got to pick another day, because the neder to make a time is still incumbent upon him. But if he said, but if he said this day, Misano Mash, and everybody agrees that he doesn't eat very much at the end of the day, but he doesn't make it up another day, because it was specifically supposed to be this day and not any other day. Okay? Says the Gemara now, also, what breaks the time? Lomar elo ocha. It's only if you eat. Or time, if you just taste, lo, it doesn't break the time. I brought the Chassid B'Shem Rabbi Yehuda said, Hamatzimisa, tasting. Emo lo mishum bracha, it's not necessary to make a bracha on tasting. Lo mishum gezel, it's not theft if you taste somebody else's food, because you don't swallow it. Lo mishum d'mai, it's not a question of d'mai. Or perhaps the meiser, because Chazal are making in this case. Lo mishum efsek tainus, if you just taste it, it doesn't interrupt your tainus either. The tainus still is considered to extend beyond your having tasted whatever food you're tasting. Again, if you don't eat it. If a person is created by himself a tainus, he can still eat after night, the night before. Imamar Tainus Sibor say, I want to know, make for myself something like a Tainus Sibor, so I know he can eat drink the day before during the day, but not at night, because the Tainus Sibor always starts at night. Lord on these hours, a person made a series of fasts, tried to make a series of fasts, Yomi Time Shabbos is it? Some of them turned out to be Shabbos and Yontif, so look, he gets flogged. But he made a neder which comes into collision with Shabbos and Yontif. But ain't tzarich the chacham. You don't have to go to chacham to be mat your neder because you ran up against the hard brick wall of the Torah itself. Not only sanos, if he took a neder to make it fast, the name comes out that based on his pattern and sequence, some of them are yom aksum megillas tainus, or days which it says in megillas tainus not to fast. Rabbi Chizkiah, Rabbi Shem Rechiah Barba. Chayim, what's a misani? You fast, but you don't have to complete the day. Just fast part of the day, that suffices. The other said, like you got flogged. We don't need at the chacham, regardless. You don't eat on those days. That's all we have to go before a Gillas Tainus was canceled. Once a Gillas Tainus was canceled, because we have so many days on our calendar as is, so therefore all these parameters were cancelled as well, and they no longer apply to Zman Hazeh. Rabbi China, Rabbi Yehoshua, they'll say Megillas Tainus is cancelled. The Shemalevim or Megillas Tainus is cancelled. Amar Rabbi Yochanan said, Emesh, yesterday you see Yoshev V'Shoyneh, I used to sit and learn. Meitzah should go to Tainus b'Chanukah b'Lud. They made a Tainus in Chanukah, which is the Megillus Tainus day, in Lud, and that was forbidden. Rabbi Lezer laughed at them, or made a mockery of them. He went to Sipir and he took a haircut, even though it's not technically forbidden at times, but we are mockery like that. Rabbi Yehoshua, the relative Yeshua, went to the bathhouse and washed, again, even though not technically forbidden. He wanted to demonstrate that How? Oh, I just that Megillus Tainus no longer applies. Rabbi Yeshua said, Suvi Visanu, Hamashi Sanisem. Yeshua went to the people of the city who had decreed a fast, which came into contact with Hanukkah, and he said, you have to go fast for that which you fasted, because you are now allowed to fast on Hanukkah, right? We see Hanukkah and Purim. The special parameters, how do you say Bola Megillus Tainus? So it says, Rabbi Abba said, Avagad, the Tamer Iri, you'll say Bola Megillus Tainus. The Megillus Tainus is canceled. Hanukkah Purim lo Bola, Hanukkah Purim always remain. Related to Bola Megillus Tainus, the rabbis, where it's also indicated, their activities actually indicate that they cancel Megillus Tainus. How so? Rabbi Yonason, Kitziem, Kol Ruvas Rosh Hashanah. Rabbi Yonason used to fast every Erev Rosh Hashanah. It says Megillus Tainus not to fast Erev Rosh Hashanah. Rabbi Yavin Tzayin Kol Ruvas Sukkot. Rabbi Yavin used to fast either every Erev Sukkot, but there's another version, Erev Shubah. They used to fast every Erev Shabbos. And Megillus Tainus now says not to do that, so it must be the Megillus Tainus' bottom. Rabbi Zia Kloim, plus Miyan Tzoyim, Marvin and something. Rabbi Zia fasted 300 fasts. These stories, some say Sham on something. 900 fasts. Why? Many days since that he fasted came out, Megillus Tainus says, okay, V'lo Chashim, Megillus Tainus, there's none of them, we're not Choshish. Yaakov Baracham Mefakis suffice to tell the Sifim, in Isa Mishalchon, if a woman comes to ask the parameters of fasting, similarly they say, could say to her, but call me signing 8 days of the calendar, you can fast. Kutzi Shabbos, you enter besides Shabbos, Yontav, Rosh Chodoshim, B'chol Shamoy, the Chanukah Purim, those are the days you can't fast. Megillus Tainus days, you may nowadays fast. Okay?
You say it's a hit or mitzvah to fast Erev Shabbos just to enjoy that more.
One of the Achronim says that that's the case because you enjoy it more if you come into Yontav or Shabbos hungry. And one of the Achronim says that. Ada Pesach. First takes dinner on 2 Pesach. Also Shaki, it's also 2 Pesach comes. Achi on 2 Pesach. I live near Pesach. Says the person says language on 2 Pnei Pesach. The Miriam Shaki, it's on 2 Pesach comes. Rabbi Yossi Omer, Rabbi Yossi says the words to explain. Achi say on 2 Pesach leaves. Rabbi Yirmiyah Boykun Rabbi Zira. Rabbi Yirmiyah asked for Rabbi Zira. Mechabashi Tasid Rameir. Rameir here is Mekel. Says that it's always before Pesach. Out Pesach, Pesach. So that, but that contradicts Rabbi Yirmiyah also, elsewhere, and also Mechabash Rabbi Yossi. This is also backwards. Tamanoim, because it says over there, Mesech the Kiddushin, Tapachot Saim now, Kol Shiyatu Kol Rishus Agdolos. Achitzu Kol Rishus Agdolos. This is where a question the Bible also brings down. If you have 4 daughters, 2 from one wife and 2 from the next wife, and you Mekadosh one of them to somebody else, you don't know which one, right? But so you say Kiddush is Biti Gedolah. Because that could be one of 3 girls. It could be your oldest daughter, could be your second daughter from your older wife, could be your first daughter from your second wife. All those are possibilities. So therefore, he said right here, it says until you no longer have a suffix which that it might be Gedolah, or actually Eitzukoshu's spouse, or vice versa. It's your young. We don't know what your youngest daughter is, so you have to make sure all these people give git. But in any event, we see here that he was not insecure around Meir, and he used to be more machmir. The Korma that here seems to be secure and being makel, and saying that Apnei Pesach means until Pesach begins, and not further. How come before that? How come there is fearful and here is not? So it says, so responding, Bishemetz ben Azar ben Zoyma. Once ben Azar ben Zoyma died, Baklo Sharp Donim. There no longer are people who are diligent. Now you made the sarcastic remark. You think your question is so good? Wasn't so good. You think Lo'amad Shoikat Shomad Yirmi? You think nobody diligent rose up until you came along? You know, great shakes. We asked this question before you. The question was, Nachar and Meir is Mekel here, and Machar by Kiddushin, to include the broadest possible parameters of Rosh Hashanah. So it says the Gemara, Rabbi Ba, Rabbi Chia Barva, Lo Mukantalam. Why was he making a mockery of them? Lo kvar kashnura Rav Eliezer Rav Yochanan. Didn't the question already appear from Rav Eliezer before Rav Yochanan? So it says, well, Michal b'shita say the Rav Yossi. The Rav Yossi's opinion has to be switched. It's Rav Yossi's unsure here, insecure here, is also has to be insecure as to what the neder was meant in the case of the or the kedusha meant in a case where you have multiple possibilities. So therefore, he's more machmir. That you have to assume your neder applies until after Pesach is over, not just until Pesach begins. So Amalei, so he said, where responded Rabbi Yirmiyah? Rabbi Zira said, no, it's Rabbi Yirmiyah saying to Rabbi Zira, Amalei Mechalfa, Masisi Mechalfa. My Chiddush say you don't change around the Brayso, you change around the Mishnah. That the Mishnah should be made to conform with the Brayso, and in fact the Tide base Rabbi came. Now Rabbi didn't learn like that. They said leave near Pesach until Pnei Pesach. Right? Meir Meir is the one who's insecure and says best to wait until the holiday goes out. Just like he says best to assume that it's one of three girls opposed to only one girl. Rabbi Yossi Meir Ad Sheyagia. Rabbi Yossi is more secure and he says until Pesach comes. And now says, well, what does that Sheyagia mean? Anaboy ad lifnei. We said here until lifnei, it sounds like before. But you say that it's after. How does it work? Rabbi Zira said, Lashon nebatiyu. In the Nabatean language, ad lifnei pischa. Ad lifnei pischa means I have the gears on the side of Shaitar. So ad mefane pischa until Pesach removes itself. So lifnei, according to them, doesn't mean before, but rather it means lifanot. And Lefanot means until Pesach is pushed away. Okay? So that's why there's a suffix in our Mishnah. Amrei Yavran said, Kol modim Pesach shu mutter. Person said, Lifnei Pesach, everybody agrees that he's mutter when Pesach comes. Pesach is okay. Mapli, and what's the machlokas? Befrosa Pesach. Person says he's saved by himself and then until Prosa Pesach. Heina Ma'ad Shegia. One says until Prosa Pesach comes, which is 15 days before Pesach. Which Chodesh Nisan is Prosa Pesach, right? So they only are until then. In Amad, says the Lifnei Pesach is talking about not just the Prosa Pesach, which is the Rosh Chodesh Nisan, but until the last day. The neder applies until Erev Pesach itself. Okay? Says more further. Ada Kotir, Ada Botz, the person says he's also doing something until the harvest of grain or grapes, Ada Mesik or olives. Ain't also is only us until the time comes. Zechal Channel, but till Kosh's Manakavua, a time when there's a set time period. Amrat Shagia Aser, Aser Chiria. We said until the time period comes, says us until the time period comes. Achi hey, Amrat Shagia say Aser Achiagia. Achi hey, we say that it should be Aser until it is. So then we say before it's also until actually the person leaves. Kol she'ein zman hakuvah doesn't have a set time. Ben shamar ben ad sheyeh. But you said ad sheyeh, or kevan shamar ad sheyagia. You said ben shamar ad sheyagia. You said until it comes. Ein also ad sheyagia. In that case, you please yourself do suffix. You're more lenient upon yourself, and you mean only until it comes, not while it's still in session. Okay. No, the person said it's time for his son's chasna. When he said, he refuses to drink wine until the chasna comes. Ad kamishas manakavua is like something which has a set time, and therefore it might mean until after the chasna is over, right? Just like we say in our Mishnah, it means until after the Pesach is over, or whatever dealing with the kosher is over. Because it's not actually so, because weddings can be changed. So therefore, Kamisha ain't Zman Kavua, perhaps like saying where this man is not Kavua, and therefore It's only, since he doesn't want to put himself into a suffix, it's only until before and at the chasna itself he'd be allowed to drink wine. So again, if it's a set time, so then it's probably possibly means until after the set time has passed. But if it's not a set time, he's not nuts. And therefore he means until that time comes, not beyond that point in time, now where the event is occurring. So the question is the chasna to be like a fixed event because it's fixed on the calendar, in which case it can mean even until after the event, or is chasna like a non-fixed event because it can be changed around the mood, and therefore is mutter once the time comes, even if the time he has not yet fully traversed the time when he's traveling, whatever the case may be. Okay? Is that clear? Says Mishnah further. Ada kites, if he said until kites, it's achiyasak or achiyasak kites until the kites happens. Kites means until they start cutting down figs. Until persons start bringing out figs in baskets. Until the end of the kites, it's when they put away the knives with which they cut the dried fruit. Until the harvest, until the people start harvesting. Katsir chitim is the harvest of specifically of wheat. But not the harvest of barley. Nevertheless, everything is based on the place of neutral where he takes neder. Bahar goes after if it's a mountain, times in mountains. If it's in the valley, times in the valley. Calculos. But it says that our kites means until they take in the baskets. So we're talking about ma calculos shteim or calculos shanovi. Is it baskets of figs or baskets of grapes? Let's hear from here. It says until they put away the knives. Skip the next few words. It's possible the miksos anovim. You don't use knives on raisins. Even if you're drying the raisins, they don't press them together as a cake. What do you press together? Figs and dates. So if it says miksos, it must be I'm just talking about dried figs and dates, not dried grapes. Okay, we'll stop. It's late. We'll stop here for today. Even though in the middle of the study, we'll pick this up on Monday. Yetz Hashem.